ready? Okay, we're ready.
Good evening. It's time to begin this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board for June of 2026. I want to welcome each and everyone that's here today. I see a group of Boy Scouts. I'm glad y'all are here. As usual, we will start today with a prayer. I've asked Cisco Gilmore to lead us in this prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you give us. We thank you for your hands of protection and how you lead us, Lord. We ask tonight that you give us guidance and wisdom and discernment, Lord, and I pray that you would be pleased in these ways. Lord, bless each one here. Bless our city. Put your hands of protection upon it. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Item number one is approve the agenda. Has anything changed on the agenda tonight?
No, it has not.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
So moved by Mayor Tennant. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion approves. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from last month? And if so, are there any additions or corrections that need to be made? Could I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Who was that? I couldn't.
Me.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. A second? Second by Commissioner Gilmore. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. At this point of the meeting, it is time for the public forum, which gives each and everyone here the opportunity to come to the front and have 3 minutes to state any comments or concerns you might have on related topics. We do ask you to, if you do come up front, to sign the podium list on the podium and to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. At this time, is there anybody here that wishes to address the Planning and Zoning Board? And if you would, state your name and sign the paper.
I signed it up over there. So.
Okay.
I don't want to burn up my time. Andy Thorpe, 131 North Windridge Way. Last meeting we had here, I heard from Jeff Parnell. It stood out to me. Hey, you know, I'm a realtor. Yeah, it benefits me to push forward with this. It's troubling that we have leadership that has a conflict of interest, and they express it in these meetings in the public. He said we would build the minimums, right? Build a retaining wall. Just do whatever, throw a Band-Aid at it, right? Let's just do the minimum. I think we all expect better. I do, in everything I do in my life, I expect better than the minimum. And just to push it ahead and not to pause and try and look towards what is the best, provide the best for the citizens, right? Pause. It's been a problem we've had for a while around planning, what we're going to set for zoning, and it continues today with these approvals. And I'm actually sick of it, okay? So we get these plans one day in advance, right, to look at this. I turned around and I asked Sean, I was like, hey, can you tell me how many roads in the city of Goodlettsville have a 10% slope on it? Well, I gave him half a day. You guys gave me a day, so I figured I'd give him half a day. He couldn't come back with an answer because I presume there are none. A 10% grade. I don't know if you guys have been on those, a 10% grade. You'll probably see those in Gatlinburg, but you're not going to see them in Goodlettsville. 10% grade is really, really steep, and that's what we're going to set up for these communities here. You're going to say, well, Windridge is able to achieve this because we have the land to do it, and we spread that out. We don't do it in 10%. It's ridiculous, right? Copper Creek is a really steep run-up, 5% grade. Coming down Allen Road, 5% as well. We're talking about doubling that. I mean, we're talking about trying to keep our citizens safe. Road A that leads us up there, that's a 9% grade, okay? 54 of the 66 people have to progress that 99% slope. It's gonna be, we're rushing into this. We're making poor decisions. And you know what, I'm gonna be so mad if we develop this site and all we do is strip this land we have that's beautiful and put out there and make all this earthwork out there, silt fences, and never build it because we know we can't. I think I want us to be reasonable. You prayed for discernment, Cisco. I agree, I want discernment here. Also, there's a force main there over near roads F and E. We have a 20-foot casing there. It's a 60-foot buffer zone there in that stream. But we're not doing that. Why are we doing that? Because we're cutting corners. We're trying to work fast. That's what we've been doing here. I want the commission to they're always looking to cut corners and provide the benefit for the developers, but not for the citizens. And I am afraid that's what keeps happening. And I'm fed up with it, and I want better, right? But also, in my closing here, I saw on the calendar that this should have been posted on 5/21. And these plans should have been posted on 5/21. They were not. So I actually want to answer that later on why our plans are getting submitted to us a day before we get to comment on it, okay? Thank you.
Anyone else need to address the board?
Okay. My name is Jim Childress. I live at 127 North Maple Ridge Lane. I actually kind of promised myself I wouldn't get up here and do this again, but after seeing some of the plans that they have on the thing, I did have, just feel compelled to speak one more time. My property abuts it's at the very end of the cul-de-sac, and it abuts where they're going to put a retention pond and they're removing trees and whatnot. I noticed where they're drawing the property lines for this thing is at the very end of the cul-de-sac. That was not where the property lines were when I moved into that house. It's another 5 feet or 6 feet over. If that were the case, then my driveway actually is on that piece of property because it extends a little bit past where the cul-de-sac is going to be. I also know that they're putting a retention pond right there past the cul-de-sac. It's going to go straight down from my driveway, it looks like, into that. I'm worried about erosion and slope there. If that passes like that, that's an unattainable situation for me. And they also have, they've already did the tree markings also. I noticed last time this commission asked them to be considerate of the trees, where they go. I got 3 huge oak trees that are right at that fence line, that if they go the wrong direction when they're felling those trees, they're gonna fall on my house. There's no other way about it. They're 40 feet, 60 feet taller than my house. So I would ask the board to look at this and make sure that they're actually drawing the correct property in the distance and in the easement from my house over to that property, because it affects me directly. I have to live with it. I have to look at it every day. I would appreciate if they keep some of those trees so I don't have to look at what they're doing over there. Otherwise, I am forced to come up with another situation to separate my property from the destruction of what's going to happen over next door to me. So I'd appreciate it if you consider those comments and look at that. I've already spoke to your engineer about that. I think he's going to look into it a little bit himself, but it is a very big concern for me. I'm not up here flapping my lips just because I don't want that property. I don't, But when it affects my living directly, I feel like I need to speak to you about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I signed in on the other sheet as well. My name is Andrea Stillwell. I'm a resident in the Windridge subdivision, 116 Forest Oaks Drive. Like my neighbor, Mr. Childress, once again, up here sharing opposition to item number 5 on tonight's agenda, the Ironwood development. We, as neighbors, have continued to come before not only this body, but the Board of Commissioners with our concerns about the environmental impact, the traffic impact, the safety impact. The plans that continue to be shared with us don't alleviate those concerns. Unlike my neighbor, Mr. Childress, our property does not immediately butt up to this. However, as a community, we see the challenge that it will have for our neighborhood and access points with activity that's already going on to start mapping things out. So once again, we implore you, please think twice about the consideration of these plans and the impact that it's going to have on those of us that are directly impacted, as well as those of us that live in the community but not directly on the property line. So please, please, please give consideration to denying or at the very least deferring plans so that we can continue to have questions answered of what the final plans will be and how the developer will be held accountable on those plans. So thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your service, and please continue to listen to us in Windridge. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Connie Childress. I live at 127 North Maple Ridge Lane. Our property is right next to it. If you see the cul-de-sac, this is our property. And here is all of the line of red of trees that they are going to remove. I'm not sure why. There's no house on the other side of that. It's a mosquito pond on the other side of that. And here's what I want to ask. Can we save this line of trees? It provides privacy, but even more than that, if you could come to my yard and see the life that lives there, you would be amazed. You would say, oh my gosh, wow, I haven't seen that bird before. I haven't seen this. It's worth saving habitat for other lives besides our own. I know I'm in the minority, so is my daughter, who has spoke here many times about environmental impact. But it's important, and no one so far on either commission has stood up and said, can we save it? And that's what I'm asking you to do tonight. Thank you.
Ma'am?
Yes.
I'll ask that question at the time, but my understanding is those markings do not mean they're going to be cut down. That's an inventory marking, but I will ask that question.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Childress from 127 North Maple Ridge Lane. I would like to ask the whatever representative there is here for Phillips Builders on the Ironwood development to please take a care to preserve wildlife as much as possible when you are building this neighborhood. I'm aware that they are not required to conduct any sort of wildlife impact assessment, but I know there are certain minimum requirements a plan has to have to preserve habitat and wildlife, which the plan presumably meets. And there are, of course, certain federal laws regarding the disturbance of migratory bird species, which they will presumably also follow. But I would like to ask them to do as much as they can, even beyond that, to protect wildlife and birds especially. I know it's easy to look out there and see birds everywhere flying all over the place, putting droppings on your car and think, there are plenty of birds. They'll be fine. The wildlife will find somewhere to go. But unfortunately, it's not as abundant as we would like to think. A few years ago, 2017, there was a landmark study that came out that found that since the 1970s, there's been a net loss of over 3 billion birds in North America alone. So unfortunately, our activities have massive impact on wildlife. And if it continues on in this way, in my lifetime, we will lose a lot of species. Now, this little bit of land, it's small, but it hosts dozens of bird species, at least a dozen mammals, and many, many amphibians and reptiles and other things that I can't enumerate. But I believe they are worth protecting. I know that wildlife can be rather inconvenient to work around with construction, but I believe it is worth it to preserve the beauty and biodiversity of the land we live on. So I would urge you to do as much as you can, go above and beyond to protect our wildlife as you are building this project so that the people that live here will have this beautiful wildlife to look at too, like we do. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board?
Mike Kelly, 100 South Maple Ridge Lane. A couple of you are elected officials, correct? Is that a yes? Yes. Okay. You appoint this board, correct?
No, I do not. I do.
You do? Okay. So you've appointed a board that is sitting here before us like y'all did before when we brought our issues to you. You listen to the people. We're not listening to the people still. Hear what we're saying to y'all. Think about what we're saying to y'all. We know growth is inevitable. 5% grade in Copper Creek, 10% grade in Ironwood. Tell me how that makes sense, Jeff. Because you said yourself, it's the minimum. Is that how you live your life? The minimum? I don't want my city that I grew up in all my life to be the minimum. Do you? Does it affect you? Probably not, because you don't have to look at it or see it. It's not going to affect you. We're making choices based on real estate that you're involved in and know about. That's the reason we're making choices, to try to push this through. All we ask is for people to pay attention, listen to who puts you in the seats, and listen to us. It's failed so far. Let's try to do better. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Do I have a motion to close the public forum? We have a motion to close the forum. Do I have a second? We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? I would like to say this. I think some of the comments were unfair. Me personally, I have never received any benefits from being on this board in 20-some odd years. I do not believe at all that Mr. Parnell has ever received any benefits from being on this board. We're here, we do listen to you, We have made changes. We try to be fair. And to say otherwise is just not correct. I just wanted to set that record straight. Motion, public forum has been closed. We're ready for item number 4. The Community Development Staff requests recommendations to the Goodlettsville City Commission to amend the zoning ordinance section 14201 to define provisions for fence regulations.
Thank you. So we had this item at the last month's meeting. Some of you all are familiar with it because it was triggered by a BZA case with the solid fence over 4 feet in the front yard. So the goal of these changes is to clarify some of the definitions, and we deferred it at our last meeting, but we have some new revisions that we've incorporated in your packet to further clarify definitions for open and solid style fences. And as well as the front height requirement for residential districts to be at 4 feet rather than 6 feet. So some of those definitions are in here. I'll summarize a couple of those. It's hard to read that much text on these screens, but just for the decorative fence, incorporating some additional fencing types such as wood or vinyl boards, wood rails. We've also, under the fence for open style, added some language to clarify that the percentage of openness is equal to a minimum of 40% of the open style fence. And then also some clarification on the fence for solid style fence. A two-sided fence shall be defined as a solid style fence. So that's some clarification with the definitions. And then under section B for the fences and walls, we've added no fence of any style or wall shall exceed 8 feet in height. And then also for between the front of the principal building and the street right-of-way, no open style fence shall exceed 4 feet in height. Or wall and solid type fence or wall are limited to 4 feet in height. So there was some discussion about the height of last month being 6 feet, so that has been reduced to 4 feet when we're talking about in the front. And then I think the item that Russell and I had mentioned, and just talking through some of these revisions as well that probably needs some additional clarification, is regarding corner lots, where it may be the front may be unclear of what we're identifying as the front yard in order to enforce these provisions. Did I capture that correctly?
Yeah, just as a follow-up, after going back through these, after we'd made some revisions for review tonight, and again, this is for review and discussion, we thought about the issues we're always dealing, as we did in the BZA. Everybody's always trying to hyper-criticize the definitions. So we use the term in here, front of the principal building and the street right-of-way as two things. I think we ought to add in the definitions, front of the principal building definition being that side of the house, that facade of the house which faces the street for which its designated street address is. Now, I was asking Mr. Ellis, and we weren't for sure, because we know we have several streets that are on corners that they may access their street right-of-way onto their yard and maybe even all the way into their garage off of one street, but the front of the house may face another. Perfect example is the corner house at Barnett and Yvonne in the Long Hollow Woods subdivision. So that being the case, if we're considering not allowing 4 feet above the front facade, I think that needs to be defined. But obviously what that would then allow is from that front facade to that other street in which the property borders for a corner lot would be able to have an 8-foot fence. And is it 8 or 6? 8. And I've seen that. I've seen that at 6 in spots at currently, and I've seen it at 8. So I think we need to put that definition in there as well. So we would define what the front of the house is. And that would be the face facade of the house which faces the street right of way for which its street designation, street address is designated. Unless someone has another idea.
You still not want it, even though, let's say it's the side that's gonna come in, but the front looking of the house, would you not want it there as well? Would it apply there as well?
Well, anything beyond the front facade, which assumed would be the front of the house facing the street address right of way, could only be 4 feet. But even though it's on the side street, it would be able to be the secondary height up to the maximum of the 8 as written. And that's basically for the purposes of the privacy in the backyard, even from that side street, is what they're trying to, people would be trying to achieve there.
You still got more?
I don't have anything else on this, just when we're done discussion, we can go to the motions.
Okay, I'll open up to the board for any questions, concerns. I do have one question or concern in reading this. To me, 8 foot in a residential area seems pretty extreme. Are there that many in Goodlettsville that have 8 foot in residential?
I think you see more of the 6 foot, and again, this was brought up by some of our first responders through the BZA when this was brought up, that obviously 8 feet poses some issues for them if they have to access over the fence with any equipment and or bodies. And I mean, clearly, 8 feet is not here as a specified recommendation from Falls or myself. It's just for discussion. So it's certainly subject to amendment.
To me,
like any other point in here.
To me, besides just the accessibility of first responders, to me, just visually, it seems extreme. But, especially in the residential area. I see a lot of 6 foot, but I just don't know if I've seen that many 8 foot fences. Any other questions or comments? Well, Sean, your recommendation is to approve as written?
Yeah, so the 3 motion options, we could recommend approval to the city commission for amending to the zoning ordinance. We could recommend denial, or we could defer for additional discussion or more information. Staff recommendation would be to recommend to approve to the city commission.
Okay.
And certainly we have the option to, come back with final draft if you want it 6 feet based on discussion, and then add this definition of the front facade of the house. I don't think we're in any dire rush here this needs to be done right, and certainly give some consideration to it, because it will set precedent in the future for our kids.
Of course,
We're starting to see a lot more, I believe, in our city of people fencing in their front yards than you ever used to see. I've noticed several of those when I'm driving around from time to time. Usually they're wrought iron in nature or some sort of railing, not the wooden slats or pickets.
Yeah. Of course, this will be a recommendation to the city commission, so if we do approve this, they would have the ability to change anything in this ordinance. So I'm looking for a motion to either approve, deny, or defer for, if you think you'd like to see some more info put out.
Mr. Chairman, I think I recommend approval, but amend it to 6 foot instead of 8 foot height.
Okay?
And to add the definition to the front of the house.
Yeah, add the definition in front of the house.
So you're saying no 8-foot fences at all, even in backyards?
In residential,
If that's his motion, that would be before the,
That's my motion, so.
we have a motion to approve as written, changing the wordage from 8 foot high residential to 6 foot maximum, and to define tell me again what the word is.
we would add the definition of the front of the principal building to be that side of the house facing the street right away in which it's granted its 911 address.
And to define the backyard of this building to what Russell said.
That. And then, but I assume the yards that have 8 foot would be grandfathered in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we have a clear, I hear what you're saying about to the front of the houses that are sitting on a corner lot, but are we gonna have clear, fine definition of what that will be? So that's not a question like this open fence was, which was brought before why it was brought before the BZA.
Well, I think through defining the front of the house, then the aspect of being able to have whatever the height recommendation or final is, whether it's 8, 6, 4, whatever, from the front facade to the back of the property is clarified that way as well.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna come in and say, well, my driveway comes off of Barnett, but the front of the house is on Yvonne, so which is which? So we're gonna tell them which is which,
Okay.
by definition.
So we have a motion for approval with stipulations. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Gilmore. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Passes. Item number 5 is Ironwood Residential Development Phillips Builders. Request final master plan approval for 66 one-family detached dwelling unit lots. Is anyone here from Phillips Builders? If you would state your name, then we're going to turn it over to Sean.
Yes, sir. David Abbey, Development Management Group.
Okay, Sean?
Thank you, Chair. So for item 5, we have a request of the final master plan for 66 single-family units for the Ironwood subdivision. A little bit of background on this property. I know we went through a lot of this information at last month's meeting to lay the groundwork, but this property was approved, annexed in late last year, working through the city commission. We discussed the final master plan last month. This was deferred for approval at the May planning commission meeting. And so we have a updated set of plans that we have reviewed and will go through with some comments for you. We're still looking at, with the resubmitted plans, as 66 units. That hasn't changed. This would be a PUD, a low-density residential planned unit development. Based on the acreage and the dwelling units per acre, we're sitting at 1.49 dwelling units per acre, which is within the PUD requirement of 1.7 units per acre. Just a reminder of some of the setbacks that are required. We're looking at 30-foot front setbacks, 10-foot side setbacks, and 20-foot rear setbacks. The portions that abut the Wind Ridge subdivision, those are enhanced rear setbacks at 45 feet. So some of the items that we talked about last month regarding road design, I know we've talked about the roads and the grades that were presented last time. With the resubmitted plans, all of the roads meet the maximum grade of 10%. That's specified in our regulations, and so roads E and D, D and E that you see on this example exceeded 10% in the plans that we received and reviewed and presented to you last month, and so they've work to get those down to 10%. Some of the more minor remaining issues on road design include just correcting the road profiles for consistency and addressing some of the accessibility items, and also confirming cul-de-sac grading tie-ins just so that those fire trucks can access the cul-de-sacs in the roadways. In terms of the environmental stream and erosion control items, some of the remaining items on this are just to clarify some of the stream crossing and erosion control measures, as well as including any temporary stream crossings and riprap outlet protection, as well as the erosion protection at Road F. In terms of drainage and stormwater, a number of these items have been addressed, including an increase to the retention pond size. We're still looking for a couple of remaining items. I think we received some of these updated items in an additional submission today, but just looking for full details for major drainage structures, including the box culverts. And also need to resolve some of the drainage and stormwater design gaps, including detention pond outlet structure details, as well as the placement of the water quality treatment units. Similarly on the utility side, some of those grades also exceeded 10% in last month's submission, and so the sewer mains have been now meet the maximum grade of 10%, and this section in particular, I think, exceeded 10% in the last submission, and now meets that standard. Some of the remaining items, which will be the sewer department will be looking at in great detail as well, is some of the sanitary sewer and pump station details, including connection to the existing sewer system, pump station details, and the force main materials. And then also to clarifying some of the easements that are required in order to include the drainage and utility easements across lots, including on lot 35. For the open space buffers and landscape plan, not much has changed on this front. I just want to reiterate that with these, I know we've received a lot of comments about kind of preserving trees along the buffer with the Wind Ridge subdivision, and so those trees that are identified in green in that tree survey are trees that they've identified to preserve. Those in red are trees that they propose to remove, and in addition to trying to maintain a lot of those trees that abut the Wind Ridge subdivision, there's also trees that will be planted along that buffer of the lots, the new lots on the Ironwood side that abut the Windridge subdivision. Number of different tree species, but those plantings will also try and provide a buffer between these subdivisions. So we have a couple of staff stipulations. We've addressed a significant share of the plan review comments, working back and forth with David and his group. And so staff stipulation would be to complete those plan review comments prior to any issuance of a land disturbance permit, as well as obtaining TDEC approvals for necessary permits and TDOT approval for the proposed turn lane improvements at Long Hollow Pike. So the motion options that you have before you would be, 1, to approve the final master plan with the defined staff stipulations, 2, to deny the final master plan, and 3, to defer the request for the applicant to provide additional requested information to the Planning Commission. And staff is recommending approval of the master plan with defined staff stipulations.
You have anything to add?
No, sir. I mean, other than related to the question that got brought up earlier about the trees directly along that one lot, we actually have already looked at some of the grading and some of the plans that Sean even got today. We have made a little bit of an adjustment to that, trying to save some more of those trees. But everything that's currently shown out there with flags on it is, yes, an inventory that we had to go out and verify sizing from 8 inches and above. So there's going to be several hundred or a couple of thousand trees that are marked out there. Obviously, all of them are not going to be coming down. We've also, as a part of some of those comments that got supplied today, there was grinder pump information and things that have already been submitted to Sean. Still getting some more coming back from them. The vendor was out for about 2 weeks, so he's been slow getting information to us. There was updates for the TIS that he had asked for. That's also been resubmitted to him. And then the photometric plan, we actually talked with NES already. They were questioning why we needed to go ahead and do it because they are the ones that are going to kind of set the poles anyway. But we explained to them that it was a requirement from the city, so that's why we got one done. That's also been provided to date as well. So we've definitely tried to get a lot more of those types of items that were requested earlier from the previous month and supply all that information.
Okay. On those trees near the cul-de-sac of Maple,
Yes, sir.
one of the citizens made comments about the 60-foot. Are those coming down or are those staying up, or have you made that decision yet?
We are trying to only have to remove the ones for the emergency drive connection that has to go into the cul-de-sac. But we have already started making changes to that plan to save more of those trees. Yes, sir.
One other question I have, on the detention pond there at that cul-de-sac, is that there by necessity at that exact spot, or is that just, the citizen made comments that he was uneasy about that being right
It
next to
is
his
there
yard?
by necessity. There are several lots that are going to end up draining to that, and that is kind of a low point for that location. Again, we're still completing those designs, but any overflow will be directed toward our site. It will not be directed anywhere toward theirs. So it should go straight down toward the stream that's there.
In this detention pond, will it be wet always, or will it be dry most of the time?
No, it's going to be dry. It's considered a dry detention pond, so it will, obviously during a storm, it will fill up as needed, hold the water back, release it at a certain rate, and then it should go dry.
And who takes care of maintaining the grass and all around this detention pond?
That would be a part of the HOA as a part of the common space.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If you don't mind, I think the chairman here addressed Mr. and Ms. Childress's concerns about the trees, and hopefully that gave you guys some clarification. As far as for Mr. Thorpe and Mr. Kelly, their concerns on the 10% grade, can you help them with some clarification or a better understanding of what they need to know about that, as well as us?
I mean, we've done what we can to get it down, but there's a lot of topography on that site, obviously. And part of the discussion that we've had with that developer is, you know, doing everything that we can to make it accessible for him to be able to construct this property, but still get in what we need to get done. And the 10% grade sometimes becomes inherently a part of what you have. It happens in plenty of subdivisions. I'm pretty certain that the entry drive that goes into Copper Creek currently is probably not 10%, but that's beside the point. However, you know, we've done everything we can to minimize them as much as possible.
Thank you.
One question coming to mind. You mentioned NES would be set imposed. When it talked about that was going to be underground.
Say that again?
The electric, the utilities in the.
The electric is underground,
It
yes.
is. So when you talk about set imposed, you're talking about set imposed at the Long Hollow side.
No, even the light poles that go into the subdivision,
Okay.
they do that too.
Okay, all right. And then I guess the next question would be for Sean. If 10% grade is our minimum, can you explain to us and to the public how, because I know that was done in the past, but how we came about that 10% grade?
Well, I think the 10% is a maximum, and so, you know, we have that in our, like road design specs for the subdivisions, and I don't know the history of how long that's been in place, but I think, you know, you have to request a variance if you're going to be above that, and there's been, I think, one on Rose Hill that we recently did, just given the trying to incorporate their 6 units at the end of that cul-de-sac, but I think when have a little bit more room to work with, we try and avoid the variances if we can.
And then, so question that Mr. Thorpe brought up about the plans. When was the deadline for these plans to be turned in to the city for approval?
Yeah, I mean, the timing is not ideal. You know, from like the submission to our review, you know, typically it's a month-long process with some back and forth. We received the deadline for the submission of these plans was the Thursday, May 21st. And we didn't receive them until Tuesday, May 26th. You know, we did our best to review and turn around, and our on-call engineer was extremely flexible to make it a priority and review them. We did finish the review by the end of the week, but I think that's why the plans went out with, you know, some TBDs in there of that our review was still underway, which didn't provide, you know, I guess we're bringing you information now to the meeting that, you know, typically can go in the packet.
Right, so otherwise it would need to be delayed until the July meeting.
Correct.
And so did our third party, or our consultant for the city, did he complete his review?
Yes.
But
Yeah,
then I think there were some things that was still turned in today.
Yeah, because we're getting additional information, and that's why we tried to get everything in when we did. We were still waiting on some of that because we wanted to make sure they were critical items that the city had requested, and we were waiting on getting those. We didn't get them until the end of the day on Friday, so we wouldn't have been able to even turn it in then when we got them.
And I will note that our on-call engineer, James Robert from OHM, is here in case there's any engineering-specific questions or concerns.
I guess, Mr. Chairman, I would ask him if he wants to speak, does he have any reservations about anything that's been turned in?
Good evening. So the plans that were received by OHM last week, we reviewed those, and for the purposes of tonight's approval, master plan, the majority of the items have been resolved. So we're comfortable with approval of the master plan. For engineering, construction grading purposes, there's a lot of smaller detail items in the plans that we would like to see resolved. So we've included those comments in the response to Sean.
In these smaller details, that is not unusual, in a project of this size to have smaller details that's yet to work out.
Correct. It's a 50-page plan set, and so there's going to be lots of comments.
And so then all that will need to be determined before any land disturbance permits would be approved.
Correct.
I think in the past, we've given, on some of these smaller details, we've given staff the approval to resolve them. Is that correct? So it doesn't have to be, I don't think the board has to be involved in every single detail.
No, and yes, sir, I agree with that. I guess my concern is, and there's deadlines put in place for a purpose, for staff to have time to approve, for yourself, consultant to have time to approve. And I don't want it to get to where, you know, we're beginning to let this go forward down the road with future projects because things aren't turned in on time. I mean, we all have deadlines we have to meet, and I think we need to stay in line and keep those addressed. I know there are a lot of things that, yes, I agree with Mr. Chairman. We don't have to be involved in all of it because we rely on staff for a lot of our recommendations. I just want to make sure that we're clear in its present, understanding of what we follow.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Barnes?
I got one. Y'all have any plans on the access gate, what that's going to look like? Is it just going to be two poles put together like you see in a park, or something a little more nicer?
I think he's still trying to get an exact design on it, but it's going to be locked off with a Knox box, so the only person that's going to have access to it will be the fire department.
Right, but I think my question, you've seen the two little gates that you see at the parks and little things where the two poles come together. Would it be something a little bit nicer than that aesthetically, possibly, Jason?
We installed one at Laurel Park up the street if you wanted to see what we installed up there and what was required by the county.
Where's this at?
It's in Laurel Park up by Beach High School.
Okay.
Yeah, we had the same exact scenario.
Got it. Thank you.
I was looking at, Mr. Ellis pulled it up, and Mr. Kelly will be familiar with this street. As a street I was actually raised on as a child or through my teenage years. And just to give you the equivalent, Mike, I was a little concerned too. Rose Hill Drive is at 15%, so it's quite a bit steeper than the 10%. I didn't even realize that till we just looked into it. There is houses going up both sides of Rose Hill all the way up on the 15% grade, and it's steep, but not as bad as I thought. So, but not saying that makes it any better, but you've been up and down Rose Hill 100 times too, I know. So that kind of gives me and you both an idea 15%, what 15% is. I just wanted to share that. No further, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or comments? The staff has recommended approval. There will be some stipulations involved, some minor details to work out. So I'm looking for a motion either to approve, to approve, to deny, or to defer for further information. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if, I would make a motion to defer the request just to get this additional information.
We have a motion to defer. Are there any other comments? Or do I have a second? I'm sorry, do I have a second? Not seeing a second. The motion dies on the floor. Do I have a motion to either deny or to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve with the stipulations.
We have a motion to approve with stipulations, giving staff the ability to work out the minor details. Is that correct? Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Parnell. Any further discussions or comments? All those in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. One nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will call a 5-minute recess, and we'll meet back here in 5 minutes. It's about time to get started. Wait for a couple of members to come back in. We'll get started. See, Mayor Tenny had to step out for a second. He'll be back. Let's go ahead and get started on item number 6. Dean Patel requests recommendation to the City Commission to rezone 4.73 acre properties at 622 Rivergate Parkway and 611 Wade Circle. Is there anybody here for item number 6? How you doing? If you would state your name, I know your name, but if you'll state it for the record.
So, hey, good evening, everybody. Dean Patel.
And Sean, turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. So item 6 is a request to rezone, I think 4 properties in total, totaling 4.73 acres, and rezoning from Commercial Services Limited to the Regional Center Planned Unit Development Low Density, or RC2 PUD. And this proposed redevelopment is for a mixed-use development that consists of hotel, retail, and office uses. This rezoning proposal is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The district lies within the regional center area, and then is also located adjacent to the commercial business center, which includes Dollar General headquarters, and located north of the high-intensity regional center plan unit development located in Rivergate, where the redevelopment of the mall is taking place. You can see some of the current zoning on this. Most of the area within Wade Circle is currently zoned Commercial Services Limited, or hotel, motel, restaurant, as well as residential homes. It is in close proximity to the green zoning, which is the general office plan unit development of Dollar General headquarters. And then that purple line is the interchange overlay district. And this this proposal, with the I guess going back to with the interchange overlay, although it cuts through, there's kind of a limited number of uses within that. With this proposal being a planned unit development, that would supersede the limited uses within that interchange overlay district. And I think the next slide, you see some of the proposed uses eligible within that, kind of the differences between the Commercial Services Limited and the RC2 PUD. There's a couple of eligible uses, such as like the residential component, but that's not really the main driver of this. The zoning really fits what has been identified in the comprehensive plan of identifying that regional center where you have a mixture of uses, and so this mixed-use development with its redevelopment is a good fit and consistent with the comprehensive plan. But then also the RC2 PUD also has a additional height limit of up to 7 stories. So that's a kind of another item that's more consistent. So when you look at kind of the area, the existing conditions of the area, you'll see here there's a couple of existing structures that are currently under construction, being repurposed for hotel uses. And then for the proposed site, this is a kind of a preliminary sketch of what that proposed site plan would look like, utilizing those existing buildings, as well as a kind of two different phases, the phase one being on the left-hand side, and then the second phase being on the right-hand side with a proposed new commercial building. And then you can see here from kind of a existing condition standpoint with, you know, a little bit more eyes on the height differential within the area. And then the proposed rendering for not only the hotel on the left-hand side, but also some retail there in the middle, in addition to that new commercial building on the right-hand side, with a lot of shared parking that kind of coincides with this mixed-use development concept, you know, better pedestrian connections within the area, as well as more roadway connections as well, that you'd be able to get across Wade Circle as well. And then here's just one last snapshot of some of the existing conditions of that middle building within the parcel, and a proposed rendering of retail establishments within that area. So we have three motion options for your consideration. One would be recommending to the City Commission approval of the rezoning change. Two, denial of the request, and three, to defer the request to get additional information. Staff recommendation is recommend approval to the City Commission.
Mr. Patel, you have anything to add?
No, just given an opportunity to see what we can do with this. Obviously, my family and I got my son and my two nephews here that are kind of running the hotel now. But if you guys have ever drove by the old Best Value Inn, we're working hard to redevelop it. And obviously, we want to try to redevelop the whole corner. It was beneficial for us to buy all the parcels from the previous owner. Hopeful that we can open up the Atlas Hotel here in the next few weeks, the front building. The back building that we're working on, hopefully about a month and a half later. But we left the front building that faces the roadway in and the Hooters, so we can, if we do get past planning and zoning, then we can kind of throw it out there to see who's interested in little shops. We've got a numerous amount of small businesses that would like to come in there, you know, whether it's hairdressers or small attorneys or accountants. So we just want to try to gauge that. Obviously, the big development with the building next door, where we'd like to build a 5-story, is what we propose to do medical offices, whether it's rehab, whether it's doctors, insurance offices, just, you know, a floor of each trade that we can get in there, mainly just to kind of piggyback off some of the other practitioners that are behind us. So I'm trying to make that a medical plaza if we can. But the first goal is to make sure that we get the hotel opened up, make sure that's successful, and then just kind of work ourselves backwards. But once we know we got the zoning, we can kind of spend funds and move towards it. Front building is, instead of having rooms, you know, the proposal is to try to do the front side of it, shops, small shops. We've got 11 rooms on the ground floor, 11 rooms on the top floor. Maybe you may get somebody, a tenant that says, hey, I want 3 rooms on the ground floor, and turn it into one larger studio. They're each about 300 square foot each. So depending on what size comes in there, that's on the hotel portion of it. But again, it's all exploratory. If we get the zoning, we can kind of market it and see what we can do. But let's hopefully that it fits within your plan, and that will help residents at the hotel and at the lofts as well. That could kind of just walking distance to do what they need to do, whether it's a small coffee shop or whether it's a small donut shop. It just all depends on who can survive there. But that's what the plan is. Hopefully we can get somebody in there and get your blessings for the approval.
Now, this on this retail building that we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Will they have rooms on the second floor?
On the front side of it, no. It'll be shops on the top and the bottom.
Shops on top.
Yeah, shops on the top and bottom.
Side.
And the back side, we'll keep them as hotel rooms. Yes, sir.
And I saw you rehabbing those buildings. What exactly are you doing in there? Just making them nicer, bigger, or what?
No, they're all going to be the same size, and they're not going to be bigger. They're all going to be the same size. They're anywhere from the small corner rooms. There's 8 small corner rooms. That's around 220 square feet. The bigger rooms are 312 square feet, 12 by 24s. Just gutted the whole thing out, put new bathrooms in, new showers, new floors, new vanities. Everything's new in the room. We'd love for you all to come by there one day and give your blessings on it and give us some suggestions, but we're nearly there. Beds have all in, ACs have arrived, so hopefully next week the TVs will come and we get our blessings from the codes department, make sure we're all fully done, get the health department there and get opened up for business on the first building and start generating some revenue, get some tax dollars filed.
I would put money on that it's going to be a lot better than what it was.
Most definitely, yes. We spend a lot more money than we anticipated on, and we actually did a lot more concrete work than we expected because that concrete work was not great. Well, I say it deteriorated over the years, but we want to make sure it's a safe, nice place. So the first time a customer comes will definitely not be the last time. We want to try to keep them all coming. And the good thing about this property is the location in Goodlettsville. Coming in from north, this is the first exit for us, exit 96. And when you come off and see something beautiful, we want to try to make a statement, especially with what's going on in Rivergate. We've had the opportunity we own the country inn next door to this property too. And then obviously we've got the comfort suites across the street and then the forum. So everything on that corner, we want to try to keep upscale where we can get people keep on coming back. That's what the goal is.
Any questions from the board?
I got one. The existing building that's facing Wade Circle that you're going to put the commercial.
Yes, sir.
Did I hear correct? On the back side will still be hotels?
Yes, will still be hotel rooms, yes.
Okay.
Sir. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mr. Patel, hey, so with the proposed zoning change, I mean, I know the professional building is the plans, medical offices. For the existing building, the one that we're speaking of right now.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that would be more out for professional offices or just for any small businesses?
Just for small businesses, yeah.
Okay.
You know, you got small businesses that can maybe afford $1,200, $1,500 a month for rental, but they can generate some good revenue, keep a good family living.
Okay.
It's nothing major out there, but the professional businesses, there's a lot of therapy offices that would like to come in there. We've kind of researched it a little bit. Obviously, that's going to be a good year down the road, maybe a little bit longer, who knows. But the biggest thing is making sure if we got the zoning, we can plan accordingly for it.
Gotcha. And the proposed building, the proposed commercial building site,
Yes,
you
sir.
already own those homes there now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we already own. So 622 Rivergate Parkway has the hotel with 3 buildings on it. Then you got 643 and 643 and 647 Wade Circle that faces the roadway in and Hooters. And then on the back side, we got 611, which gives us enough ample parking, which we can use as additional parking, not only for the hotel, but walking for the office buildings too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Patel, the rooms that is going to be the commercial pieces, you're going to combine a couple of rooms, 3 rooms?
On the front side, yes.
On the front side?
On the front side.
It's not going to be like a 300 square foot retail space?
No,
Okay.
no. So it depends. So, if we got somebody that wants 600 square feet or 1,000 square feet, we'll combine 3 units together in between where the walls are. We'll break them down. Obviously, we'll meet fire codes and safety at the same time too, but it just opens up the room for that.
That's fine. I was envisioning the rooms that were there now and a retail space, taking up 300 square foot, that usually don't equate.
Yeah, no. So, at the ground floor level, we've got 11 units. We've got 7 on one side. We've got 6 on another. I think it's 6 and 6. So if we get somebody that says, hey, I want to take 4 units and 2, then we'll only have 2 retail at the bottom. Maybe somebody may take 3 and 3. But hopefully the more they take, the better, because that way there's less shops, more demand for it. Just want to make sure there's more working space for them. So. And if for some reason all fails on that, for some reason shops don't work out, we still want to do the retail, and we'll still keep the hotel on the front side, just renovate it just like we did the Atlas Hotel, and just keep them the rooms. But I want that opportunity to kind of go out there for the next couple of months and advertise it and see who does have interest in it. And if they do, we can move forward with that. Because I definitely don't want to build shops, do retail, and then it just sit there empty. when we could have been renovating revenue, you know, maybe 5-6 times a month just from the hotel alone instead of it not doing anything at all. So I want to keep that opportunity open to keep the hotel rooms if for some reason it doesn't pan out the way it is, just continue business as normal on the hotel side of it. The other one, definitely we want to do 5-story. And if there's a possibility of 7, we could look into it. It all depends on how the engineers do the planning on that, so.
Any other questions or comments?
So just so we're all clear, the proposed rezoning includes the existing buildings and that, I think, whatever that parcel you called it, where the 3 existing buildings are, plus the other 2 parcels that you own.
There's 3 parcels that we own, 611 Wade Circle, 643 and 647. The other one's on the backside where it used to have a home on it. About 4 months ago, it caught on fire and it was tore down.
And that would be on the front page of that would be what's proposed commercial building and proposed parking for commercial building.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, them 3 parcels will tie into one at that point.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Question for Sean. So this is a PUD that's being requested, and so how does that work with us? He's asked for flexibility. Maybe there'll be retail, maybe it won't pan out and it'll go back to a hotel. How does that work in the PUD? Aren't we saying yes to an exact design, and that I would think that exact design includes the retail piece there? So how would it revert back if he wanted it to?
So with this rezoning, we have kind of some initial, sketch plan of what this would look like, but once if this were to make it through the city commission, then he would come back with, the preliminary master plan, final master plan for our review and approval. I think that's where probably a similar case to what has happened with Rivergate is if there are some changes, then we could make revisions to that master plan.
Would the underlying zoning or the RCP not allow the hotel to be there? Because I was looking at the existing use and the new use, it showed that it would allow that, but unless I'm mistaken somewhere.
I think hotel is an eligible use still. Yeah, I think the only one that may, motel, I think was not a permitted use in RC2 PUD.
Okay. So how would that affect the current hotel? I mean, we know we're calling it Atlas Hotel, but would this RCP zoning affect the current rooms that we're going to be using for that then, or no?
I think it would just need to be part of the master plan proposal.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because we definitely don't want to hurt ourselves by getting something rezoned and then finding out that, hey, you're not allowed to use a hotel over here and kind of kick ourselves. If that's the case, then we can withdraw the 622 Rivergate parcel and just continue with the other one. But, I want the opportunity to try to at least bring some shops there and bring some more life to that corner right there if possible.
Yeah.
And not that it really matters. I'm just curious, Dean, is there 11 units across the bottom floor?
Yes, sir.
And there's 300 square feet per unit?
Yes, yes, sir. So 11 on the ground floor, 11 on the top floor. There's 44 units total in that building. So there's 22 on the back, 22 on the front. And obviously our goal is to try to make all 22 of the front units into retail shops, even if it means combining them. So it won't be 22 of them. In worst case scenario, we may have 8 or 9 shops in there.
It's 3,300 square feet on each level, I guess, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, if we calculate it that way, yes.
Thank you.
So if I understand everything completely, if we do change this zoning, his motels as it stands it will be fine? And if he decides he cannot make the retail go on this existing building facing Wade Circle, he wants to revert back to motel rooms, he'll be okay with that as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's something that we can approve as part of the planned unit development.
Come back and amend it at a later date if you wanted to.
But do you want to jump in? I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly.
Yeah, so with the PUD, I mean, it would be similar to what we're doing currently with the Rivergate Mall. He would present the zoning as tonight, then we'd come back with the preliminary and final with his, but he already has established motel there. So he has that use. He could rezone it. He could just sit on it and not change anything. He has the motel currently used that is there. What you'd be setting is going forward would be the new zoning, the new uses, but with a PUD, it allows the planning commission the flexibility to really dive into the plans and approve the plans as you want, design-wise and everything. And you can even do uses if you would like. I mean, the base uses are set in there in our zoning ordinance, but you can get in specifically if that is something Mr. Patel is interested in. It could be something that could be put into the PUD when it comes back for preliminary and final. He may go through this rezoning process, and he may go ahead and start reaching out. He may already have interest in the commercial pieces. So, it may be a moot point by the time we get to the final. But it would be similar to what we're doing with the Rivergate Mall right now. You approve the entire master plan, preliminary, and then they'll be coming back to you with final. And then from there, yes, to your point, Commissioner Gilmore, if there's any changes, then we would just amend the PUD at that time. We'd come back.
Are you happy with that?
Yes, sir, because if we feel like we're going to go with the shops, we're going to know here in the next 3-4 months. If I don't, then we'll just spend the money and convert the hotels. We're hopefully that we can bring more tourists in here. That's more tax dollars for us anyway, so we just want to try to see what we can do to revitalize that whole area. So, but giving us that opportunity, we'll really appreciate that. But the retail building that we wanted to do, I feel that's going to do very well because there are a lot of medical buildings that would like to come there, and it's close in vicinity to all our other practices on Conference Drive and on Galton Pike. So therapy is a big one.
Okay.
Would this change in zoning, and the reason why I'm asking, permit the hotel to be used as an apartment at some point?
No, we don't want to do apartments.
No, I'm not asking whether or not you want to or not. I'm just asking if this zoning would allow that.
I would say you would probably want to make that on a preliminary and final. You could do that as a preliminary and a final stipulation, would be to remove that. If it's in there, I don't know. I don't remember if apartments are a part of it.
I am not asking this question as an advocate for apartments. I mean, I want to be clear about that. I'm kind of asking this question that hypothetically your ownership group decides to sell in 5 years, the next group can do something completely different.
Well, yes, you're correct. They could do that. We're hopeful that we can keep this hotel for generations to come. But you're correct. If somebody comes along and says, hey, they want to buy this property, would they have that ability? And that zoning, to me, when I read it, does look like it does allow apartments too. But the goal would be if you want apartments, you want to tear it down and build new ones anyway, instead of doing the current hotel rooms.
Yeah, currently it is permitted. I mean, you'll see it on the right side, second one down, dwelling multifamily, as the P there, permitted. But again, that would be something that I think this board could discuss at preliminary and final as a stipulation.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mr. Ellis, so nothing slipped by us here. Mr. Freeman, is that a stipulation we can put with this? if we pass this, that it can never be apartments? Or, I mean, how would that work with the
I don't
zoning?
think so, if it's in the zoning. I think what we've done in these situations, if we've created a particular zone, it seems like we just did that recently because when we created a zone, maybe it was on the overlay at the, North Millersville, there was some modifications of that overlay to allow for certain businesses to go in because of its use. I think we created its own, didn't we create a specific new classification, zoning classification?
I think we took some out of the
Somehow,
zoning,
but
yeah.
I was thinking we had recently created a classification that, for instance, you could create a new classification of zoning.
Are you referring to the,
Take out the apartment usage out of it.
Well, I ask these questions for this reason. Is it better for this to be a commercial plan unit development where those limitations could be put in place instead of commercial services limited? And I'm not trying to slow things down, Dan. You know,
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
I like what you do. But we all know, you know, things happen.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, yes. And I'm not opposed to pulling out 622 Rivergate Parkway completely and just allowing for the other 3 parcels to go through, because our goal is to obviously put office buildings, maybe retail at the bottom with offices on the top. We got plenty of apartments in, but, you know, I'd rather not do the apartments. We already have the hotel. We got the lofts as the extended stay. Apartments is just an additional stuff that we don't want to get into. But like you say, in the future, if we sell, somebody may want to do something there. So whatever we have to do to protect ourselves, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think,
Which basically would be the PUD Avenue, or create a whole new zone. I mean, classification, not zone, classification of zoning.
I would encourage that, and I know you're wanting to move forward, that this be deferred for 30 days and come back with possibility of a commercial plan unit development there that still give you flexibility that this board can approve, but yet create those limitations of uses to prevent, you know, let's just say change of ownership, different things that could come in and do anything that's within that commercial services zoning district.
Well, isn't there anything that we could do just to pull out that apartment section out of it?
yeah, I'm pretty sure we've told Dean that the comp plan identifies this as a regional center, which makes the most sense for
Sure.
his rezoning proposal. So I think, I don't know, I think we're sending mixed
The answer
messages.
is no. If it's in the zoning classification, the use is permitted unless there's a change in the classification definition. So that is a tougher process, and not a tougher, but probably a lengthier process than getting a commercial PUD presented in which the limitations can be put in.
So Sean, what you're saying in the comprehensive plan that we just passed, it would the comprehensive plan as just passed, would it have to be changed to accommodate this?
Yeah, I guess the rezoning made sense initially with its consistently with our recently adopted comprehensive plan identifying this being in the Rivergate Regional Center area that's been identified. We've got the lower density, the higher density, and I think what the redevelopment proposal corresponds with, you know, a lot of the objectives that have been laid out through that. So I know I don't have as much institutional memory, but I think this is a lot of the items that have been laid out about the mixed use being kind of like concentrated or targeted in that regional center, the Rivergate area.
I mean, in the regional center section of our ordinance, under your subsection D, you have your permitted activities. And it states that the activities listed in Table 1, which is where Sean pulled those from, may be permitted as part of the plan unit development only when such activities are approved as part of the master plans and deemed appropriate by the Goodlettsville Planning Commission. So I assume, based off of that terminology in this definition, it's a plan unit development, just as it is if we did a commercial plan unit development. The Regional Center 1 and Regional Center 2 are both plan unit developments. So you would still have based off this based off this terminology, I would interpret that this planning commission still has the ability to set uses as they feel, as such activities are approved as part of this master plan.
And I think 2 months ago in April with the Old Springfield Highway was a similar case where they had more permitted uses that were eligible, and we restricted those to just the 2 that they were desiring.
So then we would just need to add a stipulation with the motion.
Yeah, I think.
Right, because as of right now, he doesn't want apartments. And then that way we can just, as Alex read, a definition. Unless that's a matter of interpretation.
That is plan unit development, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
The RC2 plan unit development.
Yeah.
Well, it covers RC1 and RC2. But
Do you have any questions on this, Dean?
No, I'm good. I'm open either which way. Whatever serves our city the best, I'm fine with. Our goal is to go 5 stories up in the air with the building next door. I'm not too concerned about the hotel side of it. I think we'll still generate revenue from the hotel side of it if all of that has to stay the same too. But, you know, the shops, I kind of thought it was a cool idea, so I can put that cool behind me and worry about the next building instead.
If this were to deferred 1 month, what would that do to you?
It's fine, nothing at all. It's not. Our concentration is to open up the hotel, so if we have to defer it and look at it a little bit more, I'm okay with that. No problem at all.
It almost seems to me like, I hate deferring,
Hey,
but,
let me confer here just a
all
second.
right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, while he's conferring, may I ask some questions?
Sure.
But first, let me just say, I am very, very grateful that you have taken this challenge on. This has really improved this area of town. I'm grateful that you are here and doing what you're doing for the city of Goodlettsville, so sincere thank you to that.
Thank you, sir.
When I first saw this, I can't even begin to tell you how happy and excited I was to see that retail part on that old building. And hearing you explain that it's still going to be hotel on the back, I was like, that's brilliant. That's exactly what it ought to be. That makes so much sense.
Yes, sir.
So I'm thrilled with what you're presenting. My fear is that retail goes away. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. And I'm confident that you can get those spaces filled. I don't think that'll be hard at all. So I'm hugely in support with that retail component on the front of that building. Kind of disappointed if they're not there. So I'm sitting here going to beg you, please make that happen. I know you can. I'm confident in that.
Yes.
So in my opinion, it really is going to be your choice whether you do it or not.
Most
And
definitely.
so from there, that's why I don't want to hear, well, we'll try it, and if it doesn't, maybe, I know you can. So I want to hear confidence in you that front is going to be retail, and that is, you're committed to that, and you're going to make that happen.
Yeah, that's our goal, yeah. My nephew that's here with us, Mr. Sohan, he's running the property, and that was his goal to make that. He's like, I'd like to have some shops there and some retail there. Just, it brings brings more attention and more people to the property. I'd like to stay away from the apartment side of it because I'd like to have people come in transit, stay, leave, so we don't have all that headache sometimes. You know, we've been there for 4 months now, 3.5 months. We've had to call the police department out once because somebody knows the rules. Once you're over there 30 days, you got to evict them, this, that, and the other. We're not trying to evict anybody. We just want good business and try to do it the right way. But whatever blessings we can get from you, we're going to do. And I'm confident that if we get the blessings, we will make the shops happen.
Okay, so if I made a motion.
I apologize, I thought you was finished. I'm sorry.
So if I was to make a motion to approve it with the stipulation that the large building, the building in the back, stay hotel, the front building is half retail, half hotel, and the proposed commercial building is 5-story building, and no apartments shall ever be. If I was to make that motion, you would be okay with that?
That's exactly what our goal is, yes, sir. Yeah. Now, the back, just so we know, we're calling it the Atlas Hotel and Lofts. So when we say lofts, right, we're looking about extended stay, just like the Candle would have extended stay, right? These people stay there. It's not apartments. They stay there weekly because we want to keep them weekly. We don't want to do no monthlies at all because monthlies is where your issues start. We want the ability to terminate their rental agreement anytime. And I wish that Tennessee law would allow that on a weekly rental. But unfortunately, once you go over 30 days in any hotel, even if you're a daily guest, you still got a victim. So it makes no sense. You could have a guest that came from Mississippi and stayed at the hotel for 31 days, automatically makes them a permanent resident. And you can't really ask them to check out and come back again because some people don't want to do that. So especially if they're good people. But our goal is to boutique hotel, front side, lofts, same thing. It's all tied in on the back building. Same on the back side of that front building, the 22 rooms and the shops up front. We're hopeful that we get about 5-6 good tenants for the shops and they take larger space instead of trying to get 22 smaller ones. That's what we're going to try to avoid. But you know, once we get into it, we'll figure out something.
Before we go to a motion, I think Tim or somebody had something to comment.
I got it. So on the 5-story, have you got a ballpark of what the square footage of that's going to be?
We were, roughly, okay, I'm going to guess here now. That building's probably going to be around 30 to 35,000 square feet.
Okay.
Because each level is going to be around 7,000 square foot.
Okay, and then what is our requirement per square foot on parking?
We'd have to look into that, but we didn't look into the specific requirements on this just because the kind of not formal.
Go ahead.
Sorry, let me just say, I don't know the specific number either, but just at first glance, just to be quite honest, if you have 35,000 square feet, I don't think this is going to be enough parking.
Right.
So
It may only have to be 2-story or 3-story then.
Yeah, I think the stipulation, obviously, parking's going to be an issue based on how high you go, square footage, and you know that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And I think we could also stipulate some sort of size issues with regard to the retail, because obviously nobody wants 300 square foot retail shops there. So that could be part of it as well, that there would be a minimum of X amount of retail. Because obviously, you mentioned you'd be just as happy to have one take up the whole bottom floor,
That would be great, yeah.
but that may not happen, so
Correct, yes, sir.
obviously 3 or 4 would probably be more realistic.
Yeah, ideally 3 to 4 is definitely correct.
Are the rooms 600 square feet? 300?
Yeah, each
So if we
room,
went-
current hotel room's around 300.
If we went a minimum of 600, would that be?
It's fine, yeah.
That'd be
300,
2
yeah.
rooms. But I would, because I've got a commercial 12,000 square foot up in Gallatin. We've got 100-something parking spaces, and I get calls all the time where they're fighting over parking
yes.
spaces. So I would look into that heavier as you're looking at this building, just from
And we're fine with
experience.
even doing a 20,000 square foot, right?
I
Even
want
if
you to
it's
get all you can
4,000.
get.
Yes, sir.
You know, if you can go 7 stories, that's fine with me, but I would
Just the
look at the
parking
parking
requirements,
to make sure
Almost
where you're
definitely.
gonna fall there.
Yeah, we definitely don't want no tug of war, people fighting in the parking lot just for parking spots. So, and we want it to be a nice transition regardless, whatever it is. So If we have to go smaller, it's fine, not a problem.
Goodlettsville may get its first parking garage.
I think there's the stipulations on the final plan. It has to meet the parking lot requirements anyway, so it doesn't, so really what we're talking about is, yeah. So really, it's neither here nor there.
And the good thing about this is just for the future, let's say it's all rezoned RCP2. There could be a developer that comes along and says, hey, I just want to tear everything down, restart again. That's going to attract developers in the future too. So it could be a positive thing as well as a negative thing as well, because you don't know what's going to happen in Goodlettsville. Somebody could come along even tomorrow and say, hey, you got a rezoning done. Stop what you're doing and let me rip the back building down and the front building down, keep your hotel, and let me do this over here. We may even tear down the front building instead and make it part of this, instead of doing the hotel rooms in the back. But it's all possibility. But like I say, whatever we do, we've got to come back to you again and say, hey, this is our plan before we do anything. It's not like I'm just going to do it and say, hey, man, this is what I did. You guys approved it. I want your blessings, because I got to come back in front of you many times. So I want to be able to have that relationship with you guys.
Mr. Chairman, I think the motion that Mr. Parnell did was right on. If something is determined it could be done different or better and protect the city and give Mr. Patel a little bit better leeway, that can be addressed at the city commission level, but I don't anticipate that being done at this point. But I think Planning Commission Member Parnell's recommendation on this motion was right on.
Well, Jeff, do you want to do the honors?
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to approve tonight's request, with the large building staying a hotel, the back building staying a hotel, the front building changing to half hotel in the back, half retail in the front, and the 5-story commercial building all approved as part of this RC2 PUD.
I believe, if I'm not,
And the no apartment.
Where no apartments ever on the site.
I believe that the backside of this retail / motel is all motel. Is that correct?
So we're calling it the Atlas Hotel and Lofts. So when we say lofts, we're looking at weekly guests. We're not looking at monthly. They're not apartments. Now, you may have people stay there from 6 months to 8 months. They may only stay there 3 weeks. We don't know. So how would we class that now?
But on the backside of this retail /
If we do retail there, I would prefer that to be hotel rooms instead, because that way there's less transit. So that will be a hotel, yes, sir.
Okay, so the front side is retail, the back side is motel. Okay, I thought I heard you say opposite.
So the back building that we have, which is building number 3 on the backside, we've kind of made them like studios where, you know, somebody that's a traveling nurse or somebody that's come here for work that's going to work at Rivergate, right? They've got a little extra bigger refrigerator, microwave, somewhere to cook and stuff. So we've got them rooms there, but again, it's not an apartment, it's studios, or shall we say lofts is what we're calling them. So I just want to make sure that we don't have any issues with that anywhere.
But you said that they could be there 6 months?
So depending on, we got crews there right now that have been staying there 3 months. So, you know, when you're a working crew, we want that business.
I understand. That's just longer than what I was expecting to hear is all.
Yeah, you know, I'd rather be transparent than say, hey, you know what, guys, this is what it is. Because the last thing I want to do is be hiding anything. But most of these people will travel. Most of them will work. Our goal is not to even have to rent them by the week. I want enough transit to come in where they stay by the day. They leave, we clean the room, and we're ready for the next customer 6, 7, 8 hours later. And sometimes it's beneficial to have that room rented 10 times a month than have somebody in it 30 days continuous. We prefer that.
Right, but
that's less wear and tear.
But Mr. Patel, in the lofts, they will execute a 1 week stay.
Yes, sir.
Not
Yep. It's a
6
weekly
month
rental.
stay. It's a weekly.
Yeah.
Terminates, restarts, terminates, restarts.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's what the language. And we have that issue because the Tennessee law states differently because over 30 days. But our guidelines will be, this is a weekly rental, we reserve the right to terminate at any time. But sometimes we need that little help from our Goodlettsville Police Department to say, hey guys, you guys are weekly, man, you gotta go. Just a little authority kind of helps out, but then the law kicks in. So sometimes the law supersedes what can be done. But again, we want to try to play fair with everybody. And there are a lot of people that, we have people that have been staying there for a long time right now. Some of them been there 5 years, some have been there 6 years, but they are good people. It's a single gentleman, as a retired, this is his home for him. But he pays by the week, and he knows that this is a weekly rental. So.
I'm sorry to have interrupted you, Jeff. Could you restate your motion, please?
Okay. I move to approve this request for RC2 PUD for the large existing hotel building to stay hotel, the back existing hotel building to stay hotel, the front existing hotel building to be split half and half with hotel on the back side and retail on the front side, and a 5-story proposed commercial building to be added to the site, and no apartments ever shall be on this site. Which is classified as multifamily.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who said second? Oh. I get confused sometimes. We have a second by Mr. Barnesfield. Do we have any additional comments? Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it. We'll start working hard on it. So we got 3 readings. Is that correct? Before this becomes final.
This one, and then you'll have a commission, a first reading and a second reading.
Okay. All right,
So
cool.
this one's done. Then it'll go to commission next.
Would it be fair to say, is it okay for me to start advertising and say, hey guys, we're thinking about doing shops here, who's interested, and start a memento, or do I need to really wait?
I would say
'Cause
it's
I don't wanna-
totally up to you,
I'd express interest in.
but
Okay.
obviously.
Well, I'm
it's
gonna say
gotta
there's a
go-
possibility of it doing it. If it doesn't happen, then it's a different thing, but I'm confident it will. So if you all don't mind, if you see any ads flying around, I just didn't want you guys to get upset over something that we're trying to advertise, and just get the feedback from people and see how they want the build out done. So, but we'll work towards it, and hopefully we can make that a good area where you all can drive by and say you all did the right thing. So thank you again. Good evening to everybody. Thanks.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Mattel, and I think it'd be safe to say, go ahead and advertise for retail. Yes, sir.
Okay.
No?
Item number 7. Richard Southern requests site plan approval for a 4,536 square foot warehouse expansion at 114 Lindbergh Avenue. Anybody here for that? Thank you for waiting here for 2 hours.
Yes, sir. Eric Cox, 615 Design Group, engineer of record.
Sean?
All right, so item 7, we have a request for site plan approval of a 4,536 square feet warehouse expansion on 1.59 acres at 114 Lindbergh Avenue. This would be expanding the existing warehouse from 14,925 square feet to 19,461 square feet, providing some associated parking, stormwater infrastructure improvements, and landscaping improvements as part of that expansion. You'll see the site on the left here is the existing. Be a couple of structures demolished in order to make way for the proposed expansion with the existing house structure, and then there's a shared shed. The expansion would provide a heavy-duty asphalt drive as well as a loading dock door and some additional parking, and those would be on pervious pavers to help with the stormwater runoff in the area. You see the proposed, those proposed changes on the right-hand side. continuation of the building, as well as the, some additional landscaping, not only on the front side by the parking, but also some screening to the existing residence that is on the eastern portion of this property. You'll see here kind of the elevations, the existing versus the proposed. So continuation of the metal siding as part of that 4,500 square foot expansion. One item that we wanted to mention, I guess, here is we identified one like staff stipulation as part of this. You note that the existing exterior is predominantly metal siding, and the addition would maintain that consistent exterior. And so this requires a design variance from the design standards of minimum 75% brick or stone. Trying to get to the last slide here. Not sure it's going to happen. Okay, here we go. So the motion options would be to approve the site plan that meets the city's zoning ordinance and design guidelines with the listed staff stipulation, to deny the site plan, or to defer the request for additional information. And staff's motion is recommending option 1.
Anything to add to it?
No, sir.
Or any questions from the board?
You don't have anything to add?
No, happy to answer any questions, though.
So is it a total of 2 houses that's going to be demolished? Just the one? Just the one that's right next to it now?
Yeah, just the one right next to it, and they have a small shed in the back. That's the other structure he was referring to.
Okay. And then Sean, as far as that one stipulation, since the existing building does not meet the new comp plan, I mean, we just need to just amend that, or how do we need to?
I think it's just a approval with that staff stipulation.
Okay.
I missed that. What was that question? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think aesthetically, that would probably only be the right way to go, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Just to let it go as is.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve site plan and add the stipulation from staff.
Commissioner Gilmore has made a motion to approve with stipulations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Tennant. Any further questions or comments? We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sean, is there anything else?
Nothing. I think we may have a couple of car washes at next month's meeting that we've been working with, as well as Rivergate, revision to the Rivergate master plan.
What does next month's meeting look like? Big one or?
Probably about the same, maybe 3 or 4 items, I think.
I would like to make a suggestion if I could, like tonight with this last agenda item we had, that I knew, looking at it, I knew it was going to be very quick. If we could move that towards the front, ahead of those is going to take a lot of discussion. That might be. Huh? Well, I guess I could, but it'd be easier, if we, from the get-go, so. Anyway, that's my suggestion. I don't want to be like a king. Thank you, guys. I know it's been a trying night. I appreciate your questions, your comments, and your diligence. Have a good rest of the month.